Okay, so to continue my series on forgotten fighters, I want to speak about a British lightweight by the name of Len Wickwar. Now, Len Wickwar is never going to be ranked as one of the all-time greats, probably not in any sort of pound-for-pound lists. He never fought for a British title, let alone a world title. However, he stands out as arguably having more professional bouts than any fighter in history. That includes the great Willie Pep. So for that reason, I think Len Wickwar should perhaps be better known. I did actually make a video about him 4 years ago, back in 2014, and I said some things then. But just for the consistency of this series, I'll give you some of the basic details on Len Wickwar. And as usual, I'll include the Wikipedia and BoxRec articles. So he had a total of 470 fights over just over a 12-year period. This is astonishing, truly astonishing. That actually worked out at an average of one bout every 9 days. And in his early career, he was known to have up to three bouts in a single night. He fought from, well, I should say, he was born in 1911 in Leicester, and he fought from 1928, and his last bout was in 1947. So a bit more than 12 years, actually. That's 19 years, but nevertheless, the ratio of fights is astonishing. His first ever bout, according to BoxRec, was against Jim Young Shepherdson, and his last bout was against Danny Cunningham. Now, his career was a little bit more impressive than you could just dismiss as a journeyman. Um, but it's not outstanding on paper. It's good, but not outstanding. He had 340 wins, 87 losses, 42 no contests. Nevertheless, with 340 wins, again, because of the sheer volume of fights that he had, that may also rank as one of the highest ratios of professional wins, even though he lost a fair few as well. Um, and just work out how many rounds this is. Um, 470 bouts, over 4,000 rounds. That's staggering. Over 4,000 rounds. He had a KO percentage of 20%. So not a great fighter, but definitely someone who I would say made his mark in the sport of boxing. He tended to be based around the Midlands area. Most of his fights were there. He only went outside the UK a few times. One of his biggest fights came in 1939 in Derby, excuse me, in the Welford Road Stadium in Leicester in 1939 when he lost to the British lightweight champion Eric Boone, but that was a non-title fight. Um, the only title fight that I can see, according to his BoxRec record, came in 1937. Let me just get this right, and that was against one. Just bear with me a second. So many fights. It's literally scrolling down this list to get to the right point. Um, yeah, his only title fight came against Fred Naylor in 1937 in Derby, and he won that bout. So he was the Midlands area lightweight champion for some time. Um, he was managed by one George Biddles, who also managed Nottinghamshire featherweight Tish Marsden. And by coincidence, both men, both Len Wickwar and Tish Marsden, died on exactly the same day, the 1st of June 1980. Wickwar was 69 years old. Like a lot of fighters of his era, his career was somewhat put on hold by World War II. But I think he certainly made his mark in boxing. With 470 bouts, that's unlikely to ever be repeated. Certainly not in today's context. It was a checkered record, not quite consistent, and he never fought any really big names. The biggest name on his list is probably Eric Boone, whom he lost to. Nevertheless, that sheer volume of fights, I think he made his mark in the sport of boxing, and for that reason, he should be better known. Then Wickwar, British lightweight, fought 1928 to 1947, had more recorded professional bouts than anyone. And as always, I'll put a link to BoxRec and the Wikipedia article. If you have any suggestions, by the way, about any fighters that you feel deserve more attention, maybe deserve a bit of commentary, I'll try and make a video. So I'm open to suggestions. I'm going abroad very soon, so I don't know how many of these I'll make, but I'll try and do as much as I can. Um, yeah, but I'll probably do a few more, depending on how things go. So far, if you're interested in this series, I've done videos on young Stribling and Harry Wills, who were both heavyweights who I think deserve far more recognition. And I'm going to do a number of other videos. So thanks for watching, and that is some information about the British lightweight, Len Wickwar, the most prolific fighter in history in terms of numbers of fights.